The next tune that we have, usually I don't use this microphone, I'm sorry, I don't believe in them, but I got a bit of a cold recently, so I'm going to use it. All right, the next tune that we have, we're actually going to feature a different kind of soloist, a vocal soloist on this one. Sydney Hall's going to be joining us. She's going to be singing a Nora Jones tune that was made popular, I think it would have been about 10 years ago or so, called Don't Know Why. Please enjoy this last song for the jazz band. Thank you very much. Then we'll get going with concert band.
Next fall, I will be attending USC for a major in secondary education and a dual minor in Latin and modern foreign language studies. Before we move on to our next piece, I would like to introduce a few of my classmates. The first one is Emily Larson.
College in Rapid City, and I would like to take some time to introduce some classmates of mine. First is Harley Pajak. She is the daughter of Janet and Mel Pajak. In the fall, Harley will be attending South Dakota State University and majoring in dietetics. The next classmate of mine is Madeline Zero. In the fall, Madeline will be attending South Dakota State University and majoring in nursing. Our next selection is Joseph Thomas by Samuel Hazel. Throughout this piece, it contains many unique aspects from every section in our band, which makes it my favorite piece of it. Enjoy the rest of the concert.
I'm Sydney Hall. Next year, I plan on going to California and starting a career there. I'd like to introduce some classmates of mine. First is Sarah Tarvitz and Maddie. Maddie is going to USC and plans on majoring in criminal justice, and her parents are Patty and Stacy King. And then Sarah Tarvitz, and she's going to South Dakota State to major in agricultural systems technology, and her parents are Tim and Suzanne Tarvitz. They are Chris and Melissa Hall. And up next we have Beauty and the Beast. This is my favorite concert band selection because it takes me back to my childhood years, and Beauty and the Beast is always one of my favorites. So I hope you enjoy this arrangement by Calvin Custer.
like 4 or 5 of them in the back that probably can't feel their lips anymore, so we're going to give them a little bit of time here. Every year I get the chance, hold on to this, man. I don't want this in my hand anymore. There we go. Thank you. All right. Every year I get the chance to honor several seniors, actually a couple seniors, with some seniors awards. This year was especially tough. As some of you might know if you've been counting, this is my 4th year here. And if you can do the Chamberlain math, because I graduated from Chamberlain High School, that means the seniors that are seated behind me that have been introduced, they were my freshmen when I walked in, and they are the first senior class that I had when I walked out. As they're walking out, I should say. I'm not walking out. Oh, you guys are going to have to deal with me for a little while longer. I apologize. But on top of that, when you're dealing out some of these awards, and some of the people that have been honored in the past with some of these things, it's just, I look back at the plaques on the wall, and I sit there and I look at it and I say, holy cow, I've got a whole ton of these kids that I could put up on that wall. And it makes it tough, very, very tough. And you guys, you kids make it tough. So thank you. Thank you. Because one thing is that I know for certain, that this senior class has come a long way. I love them dearly. And one thing that I know for certain, you can't replace kids. You can't. There's no way that I can replace, I'm just going to name off a couple here. There's no way I can replace a percussionist that took lessons from me right when I walked in, summer before I started. Worked with her for a long time. Finally, the point, where I talk her into trying out for All-State Band, and then she becomes an alternate. She doesn't make it. She was the alternate. She was the next kid in. Broke my heart, but you can't replace that kid. You can't replace a kid last year that I walked up to at the end of the year, near the end of it, and I said, hey, the section is yours. You're going to have to step up. And then she does, and she becomes an outstanding trumpet player in the process, an outstanding human being. There's no way you can replace a kid that I looked at and I said, hey, you need to have a bigger saxophone in your hands. I give it to him, and he absolutely takes off. I thought it was going to be a stretch to get him to play in my jazz band, and the kid just flat out crushes it. Now, the only reason I say that is I hope, for you seniors that are back here, I hope with the amount of time that I have spent in front of you, sweating, sometimes bleeding, and doing things like that, that I hope somehow you have gotten as much from me as I've gotten from you guys. So thank you so much. Please give those seniors a round of applause. Now I say that because you can't replace those kids. You can't. But when I think of the group that's sitting behind me, and I think of the kids that I have in it, you can't replace the kids that are leaving. But holy crap, you can do something special. Those kids behind me, all these kids, guys, they've done an outstanding job, and I really just want you to give them, all these kids, a fantastic round of applause really quick. Now we got to get to the part where, that's nice, but at the same time a little bit bittersweet. Every year we hand out the Director's Award for bands. A lot of times this goes to a kid that has shown outstanding leadership, and just overall just a kid that you can count on to do whatever. I knew the first year when I got here, when this kid walked in as a freshman, I knew that this kid was going to be something special. And it wasn't just enough, and now of course I'm going to give it away, but it wasn't enough that she was a color guard member, and then the next year she was my color guard captain, and we sat in a room 3 nights in the summer, just her and I trying to write a color guard show with no help. and it was a disaster, but she stuck her nose to it. She kept up with me. Now, that would, and you know, she dealt with me, so that's kind of cool. But on top of that, when she walked in, she said she was an oboe player, and then I had the assistant band director, or the middle school band director at the time, throw her to me and say, hey, she's an oboe player, I don't know what I can do, why don't you take her? And I did, and she worked her butt off. And she's an outstanding young oboe player, and I love her to death, and I'm going to miss her dearly, but this year's Director's Award goes to Harley Petrak. Award for band. This award typically goes to the outstanding instrumentalist, the outstanding musician within the group. We have a very storied past behind this award. Lots of kids that have gone on to do some great things, people that are professional musicians. And this kid right here got her once again, sophomore year, didn't take lessons from her freshman year, started her sophomore year, and I said, hey, I think we can get you trying out for all-state band. She said, sure. She puts her nose to the grindstone. She tries out as a sophomore on small clarinet. Next year, as junior, I switch her to bass clarinet. And I say, hey, we should try this again. She says, okay. Sticks her nose to the grindstone. 0.1 away from making it into all-state band. At that point, I knew. I just said, you want to know what? I said, obviously, Phil, you're not doing your job. You need to do something a little bit extra here. So we did it again, and not only did she make it this year as a senior, but she leapfrogged 4 people that had beat her the year before, and not even by a small margin. She was 3rd overall in the state, 8th overall in the state in total clarinets, 3rd on bass clarinet. Leapfrogs all these kids and leaves them in the dust. Not even, I mean, almost, you know, if you were watching a basketball game and this was happening, it'd be a blowout, you'd leave. So without further ado, the John Phillips Award this year goes to Jess Garrett. All right, I'm done with that. Because I'm not one of those people that you would consider, I told my jazz band this morning, I'm not one of those people that you would consider that has these things called feelings, so I don't want to let mine show too often. I got to do some thank yous here to a couple people in the audience. First and foremost, because he works with the group every once in a while when I'm not around, I'd like to thank my dad, Dennis Carlson, for subbing. I would like to thank my mom, or my llama, because she comes in, my llama comes in and works with accompanist. She accompanies kids at contests. I'd like to thank her as well. I would like to thank Paige Krzeski for being an awesome person to sit across the door from and just hang out with. I can't tell you how many times where we just look at each other and we can tell what each other's thinking, and it's just so much fun to work with somebody like her. So thank you, Faye. She also accompanies too. Quick plug, outstanding vocal program here in Chamberlain. I guess I don't know if you guys knew that. Next week, up at the high school, right? There's going to be a vocal concert at the same time. Thursday, next week, 7:30. Thank you very much. All right. Next person I'm gonna thank really quick here is my partner in crime, middle school band director, assistant to me and me assistant to him, Jordan Seidel, because I can't do it without you, man. There's so many things that he does that I don't even have to ask him to do, and he just does them when things are going wrong, and it makes my job really, really easy. Also, I'd like to make sure that I thank Miss Karen Fox for being an outstanding principal, Mr. Todd Palmer for being a great activities director, I think he's here somewhere, and Dr. Debbie Johnson as well, being outstanding administrators. I believe, man, I hope more importantly right now, I want to thank you as their parents. Parents, supporters. These kids right here behind me would not be here if it wasn't for you. And on top of that, I just want to urge you and encourage you to keep pushing your kids to do their best. I don't care what it is. I do not care. That's one thing that I hope that some of these seniors have gotten from me, is that when they're in my group, I do not care what they're excelling at, just as long as they excel. It doesn't matter if it's basketball, it doesn't matter if it's track, it doesn't matter if it's girls volleyball or anything, choir. And musically, push your kids to do their best. And push them, more importantly, to stay involved in this school. So often you see programs start to die, and it's all because of not enough push. Push those dang kids. They may not admit it, but they want it. And I hope that I've put them in a position to succeed here tonight. And I hope that they succeed for years to come, because right now, the sky's the limit. This group of kids behind me is fantastic, and I look forward to working with all of you guys again. Now, I'm going to quit talking. The last thing I will say here is, as soon as we are done, I've been asked by Darwin, who is the nice custodian here at the Armory, usually we pick up all the chairs. He said to actually leave the chairs out, all right? But we still need to make sure that we get all the band stuff loaded. There is no possible way that I can fit it all in one trip, sadly. But the more stuff that we get shoved onto that trailer and up the hill, the better off we're going to be. And until we get a home of our own, this is the way it's going to be. I thank you for your support. I thank you for coming out. Have a fantastic evening. Morgan, please take this microphone away from me.
This summer I'll be finishing my National Guard training, and then in the spring I'll attend SDSU and major in general engineering. Zach, my parents are Mike and Lydia Hoke. Zach's parents are Jim and Karen Bristow. Zach will be attending DSU and majoring in cybersecurity. I'd like to thank you all for coming and supporting our fine arts program. Go Blue Joy.
You can't tap your toe to America the Beautiful, so try this one on for size.